Regardless of if you watch the rest of this video, I just want you to comment below, yes or no, was this the greatest episode of television ever? Game of Thrones Season 6 wrapped up in the most undeniably epic fashion, so obviously we've got to talk about it, therefore spoiler warning if you have not watched the Season 6 finale. The Game of Thrones Season 6 finale had more payoff to it than any other episode in the entire series, and in my opinion, probably as much as any other episode has in the history of all of television. We had a handful of major characters that have been a major part of this entire story since the very beginning, all have their storylines take gigantic leaps forward in ways that maybe some people didn't necessarily see coming, and other ways that we knew were coming, but it was still really cool to see. For me, there was 5 crucial characters that had a lot of their build-up sort of come to a boiling point in this finale, and I wanted to talk about each of them individually, and no, Samwell Tarly, you're not one of those 5. Sorry, bro. First is Daenerys, and while her big payoff may have been the least dramatic of all of these, with a lot of the drama coming last episode rather, we knew she had to set sail for Westeros eventually, and that has finally happened. I had a gut feeling around episode 3 or 4 of this season that the final shot of the season would indeed be Daenerys setting sail for Westeros. That has finally happened. That whole series of events is really beginning to unfold. The next one is also not very dramatic, but gets you in the feels a little bit, with Tyrion Lannister being named the Hand of the Queen. It's hard not to be stoked for Tyrion in this situation, because this is sort of everything coming back together for him positively after things got pretty grim for him for a while there after the death of King Joffrey, because obviously blame was placed on him by Cersei, he was put on trial by his own sister, set free by his own brother, and then had to run off for a couple seasons trying to seek out Daenerys, and he's won her approval, he's won her trust, and everything's kind of working out for him now. The next one was definitely the most dramatic of the major payoffs of this episode, and was kind of the major focus of the entire episode, with Cersei Lannister getting the best of fucking everybody. I think when it's all said and done, Cersei Lannister is gonna go down as one of the best television villains that we've ever seen, and while it was super refreshing to see her get taken down a peg or two with the whole walk of shame and everything, we kind of, as viewers, we felt like Cersei had finally been bested. Cersei finally got taken down a peg, but she still manages to set all these events into motion to where she comes out on top in maybe the most violent and shocking way possible. Now, it backfires a little bit with her, her son killing herself, but at the end of the day, Cersei craves power, and now she is the queen, and without that kind of sense of needing to protect her children, because it's come to fruition that she has seen them all die, what's gonna stop her now from being completely 100% ruthless? Like, honestly, as much as I hate Cersei and how much of an unbelievable bitch she is, you kinda gotta tip your hat after all of this. Now, just to preface the next one, since the very beginning, Arya Stark has been my favorite character, and I've had a lot of people over time be like, dude, Arya Stark, really? She's a little girl, why wouldn't you like some badass like Jon Snow? And it's because I'm not a basic bitch that just goes for the most popular character. I like me an underdog story. So to see Arya Stark come full circle 3 whole seasons after the Red Wedding and slit the throat of Walder Frey in the fashion that she did, no less, after seeking out the many-faced God and Jaqen H'ghar and learning under him, and to finally apply that in the very means that she had intended to all along somewhat, that was one of the most exciting oh shit moments that I've ever had with television. Now, while it is a little bit chilling to see a young girl get such pleasure over watching a grown man bleed to death from the throat that she slit, this girl's been wronged in some pretty major ways throughout her life, and if she's gonna go and become a trained assassin, the people that wronged her sort of made that bed for themselves. Now, the last one is obviously R+L=J, confirmed. We finally got to see the truth about what happened in the Tower of Joy that's been hinted at in so many ways throughout the entire course of the series, confirming now that the mother of Jon Snow is actually Lyanna Stark. For those of you not fully caught up, that means that Jon Snow is of Stark blood, ice, and Targaryen blood, fire, the literal song of ice and fire. And I think the significance of this isn't so much that Jon Snow is of royal bloodline, but more so that even being viewed as a bastard of nobody of importance has done so much in uniting various factions of people all together to fight for a common good. Now, he's obviously had his enemies along the way, but not that many of them. Just about everybody that Jon Jon Snow has stood beside and worked with and fought with, they all hold him in the highest regard. To pretty much everyone he's ever encountered, he's viewed as a great leader and almost has the word king written all over him. But the interesting thing is, Jon Snow doesn't really crave power. You can even see it in that he tries to yield control of Winterfell to Sansa because he believes she has the true Stark name and that she didn't get enough credit in taking back Winterfell. And he believes that she has the leadership qualities that would be needed of the kingdom, and he doesn't necessarily crave it in any way, even though eventually everybody does declare him the king of the North. But I think in the bigger picture of the Seven Kingdoms, of Westeros, everything, when it comes down to Jon Snow versus Daenerys, in a lot of ways, they're sort of on the same side bloodline-wise already, but I don't think Jon Snow is the type to want to fight for control of the crown, certainly not from his aunt, I guess, in Daenerys, especially when she's got dragons. So I think Jon Snow's legacy is going to be more so as the person that obviously leads Westeros to victory over the White Walkers. We've been able to see that coming forever, but not so much as somebody that wants to sit on the Iron Throne ever. Anyway, that's it for the 5 big payoffs that I wanted to talk about. In the end, I feel like this was an absolutely masterful episode of television. I thought season 6 of Game of Thrones was probably the best season of Game of Thrones that we've had so far because things are getting really close to the end now, sad as that sounds, but they've got a lot to cover still, and you can tell that they're really ramping things up. The tension is building, and everything that's been hinted toward all along is really starting to come to fruition in big ways, and that is incredibly exciting. Anyway, that's it for my thoughts on this episode and really this whole season in general. If you've got any thoughts on this all, please feel free to share them in the comments below. And like I asked at the beginning of the video, yes or no, was this the best episode of television you've ever seen? If you enjoyed this video, please hit it with a like button. I always appreciate that. And if you want more Game of Thrones videos, let me know in the comments also. If there's something you want to hear me talk about, you know, I'm willing to do that for you guys. But subscribe if you haven't already. And above all else, everybody, thanks so much for watching.
Yeah.